Macmillan Audio presents Propaganda Girls, The Secret War of the Women in the OSS by Lisa Rogak. Read for you by Samara Naemi. Introduction. During the last brutal 18 months of World War II, American troops in the European and Far East theaters began to notice a significant uptick in the number of Axis soldiers and collaborators who were surrendering, peacefully and willingly, to the Allies. Defeated German and Japanese troops stumbled across enemy lines in Europe and Asia with one hand thrust in the air, waving a piece of paper with the other. In some cases, it was a tattered scrap of fabric fashioned into the globally recognized white flag of surrender. But many of the war-weary soldiers brandished leaflets, newspapers, and letters that had served as their personal breaking points, convincing them that theirs was a war that was no longer worth fighting for. One half-starved German even handed over a couple sheets of rough toilet paper with Hitler's face printed on it as his ticket out of the war. The Allied Welcoming Committee patted down the enemy soldiers before sending them on to intelligence officers, followed by the first good meal they'd had in months. They tossed the well-creased, sweat-stained papers in the burn pile along with their enemies' threadbare uniforms. Neither the Allied nor Axis soldiers realized it, but many of the broadsides, pamphlets, and other documents the defectors presented in surrender came from a common source. What's more, they were totally fake. A secret brand of propaganda produced by a small group of women who spent the last years of the war conjuring up lies, stories, and rumors with the sole aim to break the morale of Axis soldiers. These women worked in the European theater, across enemy lines in occupied China, and in Washington, D.C. And together, and separately, they forged letters and official military orders, wrote and produced entire newspapers, scripted radio broadcasts and songs, and even developed rumors for undercover spies and double agents to spread to the enemy. Outside of a small group of spies, no one knew they existed. The four women of Propaganda Girls, Elizabeth Betty MacDonald, Jane Smith-Hutton, Barbara Zuzka Lauwers, and celebrated German-American actress Marlene Dietrich, worked for General Wild Bill Donovan's Office of Strategic Services, or OSS, the precursor of today's CIA. Their department, the Morale Operations Branch, or MO, was in charge of producing black propaganda, defined as any leaflet, poster, radio broadcast, or other public or private media that appeared to come from within the enemy country, either from a resistance movement or from disgruntled soldiers and civilians. In essence, black propaganda was a series of believable lies designed to cause the enemy soldiers to lose heart and ultimately surrender. But it was also aimed at occupied populations and soldiers captured for cheap labor, to encourage them to rise up against their oppressors and join the winning side. Donovan, who had studied Nazi black propaganda, knew how effective these tactics could be. Subtly planned rumor and propaganda can subvert people from allegiance to their own country, he said. It is essentially a weapon of exploitation, and if successful, can be more effective than a shooting war. While officers in other departments refused to hire women, Donovan specifically searched them out when he began to staff his new MO branch, as he believed they would excel at creating subversive materials. General Donovan believed that we could do things that the men couldn't, Betty said years later. We were able to think of a lot of gossipy things to do for MO that men never would have thought of. I don't want to brag, but women can hurt people better, maybe, than men could think of. Women seem to have a feeling for how to really fool people. Donovan liked quirky people, and Betty, Zuzka, Jane, and Marlene definitely fit the bill. All had careers that were highly unusual for women in the 1930s and 40s, and they all yearned to escape the gender restrictions of the day that dictated they be mothers and wives, or teachers or nurses if they absolutely had to work. They all wanted more than their present lives provided, though they never lost sight of the fact.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?